Today I will be sharing with our listeners the experience by displaced victims in crisis-torn communities. I want to be very plain that if you are living in Nigeria presently, particularly here in the Niger Delta, including River State, you will realize that we have a whole lot of what we call pockets of crisis happening left and right, and in each of those places you can record the loss of lives sometimes, and wherever you can hear lives gone, definitely you start coming up with the issue of orphans. And sometimes when their means of livelihood are completely destroyed, you call it loss of properties, you begin to talk about the vulnerable children, because parents are alive, and sometimes the circumstances that should have been able to give them opportunities to take care of these children are no longer there. So you begin to see when life getting worse, and at a point children will not be able to get the kind of support they need. So I can boldly say that what we are witnessing in recent times, as far as crisis is concerned, is not only an issue of orphans and vulnerable children alone, because that is an aftermath. But the reality is that there are a whole lot of people actually suffering this. As I'm talking now, I want to be sure that whether we believe it or not, somebody somewhere must have been displaced as a result of crisis and is suffering in another person's land, another person's compound, another person's house, not even know where to begin in life again. And it is something we all should share and think of how can such people be really assistance wherever they are. I think that is where this whole issue is emanating from. Again, when we use the word crisis, we really need to be very specific. We are talking about conflict. It's warlike. That is the whole thing we are talking about. So in case somebody was sitting out there, what we are just saying is that time when you begin to see people running, suddenly you hear, oh, this person is gone, dead. This person has been wounded, house vandalized, you carry terrible things, you don't even know where to move to. Crisis has occurred. Conflict is now going on. But I have to separate something at this point, because we are dealing with what affects humanity. Crisis, or you call it disaster or conflict, is man-made. It's man-made, it's not natural. When it occurs naturally that we are forced to move, you may call that disaster, natural disaster, like flood, like the hurricanes and all of this. But this is a situation that must have been triggered by actions of an individual or group of people. Some tension must have happened somewhere, and they can no longer be able to control, and by the time it escalates, it results to crisis. This sometimes can be classified as communal. Two communities, after agitating over maybe a boundary, agitating over maybe a particular issue, or maybe somebody from the other community has run into a problem with another person, and at a point it has extended. The next thing you will hear, two communities and sometimes multiple communities will go into conflict. Crisis, you hear communal crisis. Whether you like it or not, lives must go, properties must be destroyed, people must be displaced. So many people you find around yourself, you may be victims. They have better stories to tell, because we are talking about experience of this kind of people. It is sometimes not only communal, it happens sometimes as a result of political upheavals. There are times when you hear several top political individuals with some of their extended allies and people behind them can crash. Definitely they all come from communities. They have certain levels of strata where they belong. It will extend to all of that level. You can also witness sometimes can get even to the level of political parties crashing. It happens all over the world. But what we are trying to say is that whenever you see this happening, there are serious impact. Something go beyond. Things must definitely happen to people as you see that happening. We also found another type that you may witness recently, though I was in a very classic discussion somewhere with some people, and they were actually arguing with me because majority of them also who were there were some white. They don't understand what we call the courtism of an issue. They don't believe in what we call courtism.
Oh, wow.
They say we should call it gangsterism.
Gangsterism.
To them, they understand gangsterism than what we call it courtism. Because to them, it's an approved thing. It's something you should be proud to belong. And you must behave very well and walk by the code and conduct of where you belong. They have their identity card. Some of them have their uniform they wear as a member of court, even in overseas. So it's surprising to say you are talking about courtism and they're becoming something of street disturbance and a village disturbance. So to them, we should call it gangsterism. It should be treated as gangsterism and not courtism. I say, I don't.
And people should be proud of it.
People should be proud, and you should respect yourself. If you belong to such a thing, understand the code of conduct of where you belong. Don't use it as an abuse. By the time it becomes abuse, you're a gangster. So, and to me, I was satisfied. I feel some of our young people should also understand. If you have chosen to belong, then respect yourself. Because some of them are members, even in overseas. They are educated, they are well-behaved people, they know themselves, they have signboards, and they have never disturbed anybody. And it's never meant for disturbance. It's a choice.
Dance is different from
what we do here. So that is why you can see, by the time we witness in recent times, that you find young people who come together and before you know, you hear courting crashes. That is the term I hear. And by the time you hear courting crashes, there must be loss of life. People wounded, places vandalized, structures that were, people spend a lot of money, before you know, it's vandalized. So definitely so many people have suffered as a result of this thing, not necessarily because they were part of it, but they are victims. So I think at this point that I've been able to discuss very clearly when we are talking about crisis in nature, and maybe the encounter, I should be saying victims, as we are saying, just as we were talking a few minutes before now. It's not only the people who died, not the people who weren't there. There are people that you may call it indirect victims, as someone just whispered, indirect victims. The indirect victims are those that your own shooting, your own killing, what you have done, the psychological effect, the sound, the action affected them. As they are moving, they are almost dead. As they are moving out of that environment, they have lost access to their resources and all those things. And where do you find them? They are not living. So there is going to be a kind of lingering effect beyond the displacement that has just taken place. So it's a critical issue. In case we have just been hearing, oh, this person is displaced, something is happening here. Oh, it's not an easy one. In social development, because you know we are talking about touching lives, as a welfare organization, we are talking about the magnitude of this problem. You will agree with me that while we are always bothered about how many persons killed, and that is what the news will capture, how many persons killed, how many persons wounded, we may not realize that the impact of the secondary, the extended victims, is far, far, far higher and very large to handle compared with what we have actually captured. Consider maybe in a community, and now something happened, suddenly crisis occurred, conflict, maybe 1 or 2 persons were killed, houses burned, people wounded, and at a point everybody disappeared. Begin to count the cost and the pains and the effect of what they will be passing through wherever they are. In the next 6 months, 1 year, you discover that some people will not be able to recover. Some people can return. Some people will even die thereafter, that sometimes we may not be able to record. Because environment they find themselves within that time, sometimes they have lacked certain services to health, to food, security, safety, and more. So the death toll will keep increasing. But at that point, we don't capture, we are not aware. That is why Touching Lives is saying this is an issue. When natural disaster occurs, it has a kind of inner strength, inner courage that it will generate to victims for them to start building resilience, how to cope. It has a way of driving intervention
And that's
for
talking about the
natural disaster, it will give you inner strength to cope afterward. By the time you turn, you discover it was natural, flawed. I have no choice, I have to leave. You will cope, you will try to relocate and begin to look up to that maker who has allowed it happen. And it will attract human concern for intervention, support will come in. But when it is man-made, people will, it's their problem. They just ignore, they leave you, you suffer it. And at that time, you that is secondary, indirect victim, elsewhere where you are, because you did not contribute to this issue, you are not aware, you were not party to this, but today see what I passed through, see what has happened to me, the grudges, the pains. So you breed more conflicts, more problems ahead, and no one will be ready to come to your aid, because they are tracing the effect of what has happened there to few individuals or a group of people, and it's their business.
So that might just include you, because you've been in the environment as well.
So in other words, victims in crisis-torn areas are now experiencing that their pains is never ended. No one comes to their aid. It's as if we are the architect of what happened to us, whereas we are not. So this experience is an important one. Again, I may want the general public, because when we talk about crisis, it is what anyone can experience. It's just like issue of disability. I keep telling anybody and say, you that is able is the next prospective disabled person. Yes, because you are complete. Anything can happen, and the next thing is that you are also disabled. In case you have also experienced this and how you were treated, sometimes you can also share, so that part of what we have found out can actually be proven.
I think we should actually go out to everyone that needs help in our communities, communities, even families and families who are strange things going on. Like when you talk to people about it, you feel like, oh, it's just a family issue. So you can't quite ignore it. There's a whole lot going on in this world that is dying in silence, that we should stand up for. It's not all about family, everybody that suffers, I think there's so much on one world, so we should stand up to this love when love is needed. Because it's a whole, love is needed, and it keeps there, not just in love. So we should do something, we should help the people dying, that kids dying in silence, people in their home, people in their homes.
Okay, so she's of the opinion that you should reach out to anyone in need of help. It doesn't matter if it's a communal clash or a community crisis or a natural disaster. Whichever way, anyone in need, you should go out and reach out to such a person any way you can.
I appreciate, because if I have started that way, it will look as if I'm preaching as a reverend. Because the truth of the fact is, whether we like it or not, as I've said, you don't know who may be the next victim. It doesn't say where you are from or who you are, can happen to you. So I'm happy with that comment by saying it doesn't matter where you are from, somebody needs to help that person. And that is why I want to make this very clear as we are looking at the issue of the impact, the challenges these people are facing. You know, we say it's an experience that displaced victims are having. You know, when we talk about internally displaced persons, for example, you talk about the IDPs in the Northeast. Why do they say that? Because they are looking at the magnitude of the conflict. But I am always bothered. The conflict that is so wide in magnitude, affecting wider population, the same conflict can happen in a community, affecting a small number of people. So what is done when it is larger is what should equally be done when it is smaller. The only thing that is different is that the agency that is going to coordinate and respond must always come according to the level of what is happening. Why do we have communal crashes, cultic crashes, political upheavals affecting the people locally, and you do not have any form of activities that can be able to capture this internally displaced person, who they are, where they are, what they are passing through. It's as if nothing happened. Then something is wrong. You will agree with me that after a crisis, there are people who will never return back to their home.
Yes.
They were originally part of that place, but they cannot return because they don't have a place to return to. Sometimes they remain suffering outside where they have never meant to live for the rest of their life. I feel something needs to be done. I have just told us, whether we like it or not, there is always displacement. You will be forcefully moved. If you don't move, you die. Safety first.
Oh, yes.
Someone told me. And while you are saying safety first, you are already wrong. To where? To eat what? Where will the children go to school? How do you survive? Sometimes these people escape even without clothes on their bodies. I was just sharing with them. We are very careful as a welfare center. We don't become so specific. I'm not mentioning any community where there is crisis, but if you are from Rivers, you know that there are several communities facing this right now. Some local government authorities are always on air talking about some of these issues. The truth of the matter is that where are people from these communities right now and how are they faring? What have we done? Sometimes they may be living closer to you. Do you realize that they have a home? There was a farmland. They have a place where they were doing business, but today they don't have food to eat. Children can't go to school. They are naked. And we feel free and watch out these things happening. To me, it calls for a response, just like the last caller. It calls for people to team up together because there's a lot of tears, a lot of crying, mostly when they were not the architect of all of this. I wish to say at this point very sincerely that this idea to abandon people who are victims when this thing happen because of the basis of tribe, is their community, is their making, is their issue, is a wrong one. It's not a very good way to respond to needs of humanity. Imagine if the international community says, oh, it's a national problem. Where do we go? It's never done. So if it is not done nationally, internationally, we should not do it locally. I feel this will draw me closer to some strong points of observation.
You've been talking about, people need to do something, not just, looking at it like it's their problem. Like Deborah also said, she said you should do something. Now, what is expected of people at that point? Now, not the victims, probably anybody at all. What is expected of people? What are you supposed to do at that point?
Colleagues who just came in from different organizations.
Okay.
On the 10th, a day after the state election, I traveled somewhere. And while I was on the road on a Sunday afternoon, I realized that where I was, the road was rowdy.
Okay.
A lot of children, a lot of families, luggages, but people were just running. And I told my wife, I said, it seems something must be happening here. So, and they were flagging down the vehicles. So I have to slow down. And I say, what happened? He said, please, we are looking for means to carry on. There is a community, there is a crisis. People are shooting, they are killing. We don't know where to go. Please, sir. I told my wife, I cannot close my eyes to see this. See when people are screaming. So I have to take 6 families. The question I was interviewing them in the car, where are you going? They say, anywhere. And I have to beckon on another man that was driving fast with speed and fear. Says, sir, please, I'm a reverend. Look at me. I'm not on a pulpit right now. This is an emergency. Come to their aid. Will you please don't move a few families from this position? They are not safe. And the man quickly looked at me and said, sorry, and carried me. This is a good gesture. That's the beginning. The next question I should be asking neither, where are you going? We don't know. At that point, it calls for state, local government, hearing that there's a problem in a particular community. A lot of elderly people and young children are moving and looking for where to go. There should be quick intervention strategy to declare a place where they can find safety. Because at that point, if you are young girls, you are no longer sexually safe at all. Young children, a lot of them will disappear in this world of ritual. I am meaning exactly what I'm saying. It's a big painful. Some of them will not have access to food. Some of them have no cover on them. This is where agencies should come in immediately. Maybe if they know some nearby community to move to, and I happen to have a little space, I should accommodate somebody. This is where the scripture, the good book will tell you, I was homeless, you accommodated me. You see somebody running, empty body, naked, and I have a little thing to spare. That is why I always call for relief materials. Locate them where they are, clothe them. I think I am beginning to break it down.
Yes, you're beginning to break it down.
And if you don't know where to go, because some people are afraid to give directly because they may use it against them. We are living in a world, a lot of people have become skeptical, diabolical. Pass through a welfare center, like Luther Welfare. We can represent you proudly. I have promised you, I can always be at the forefront of the team to make sure your donation gets to the poor. And we have what we call evidence-based presentation. You see it live on your video at any platform to show that this was what I donated and when carefully distributed to the really needy people. So if there is anybody that was hesitating, not helping, because you are not very sure of what they will be used for, this is a platform that can help you do that. When I hear of rehabilitation, or I hear of intervention, oh, we are doing conflict resolution, but you do not think about the number of people that move out of that environment, and how will they come back, and how are they faring, that conflict resolution is incomplete. There is no space of intervention. How many communities that must have been in crisis, and you see the people cannot return for how many long? What are we doing? What are those people going to be feeding on, and how do they cope? And there is so much. So I feel that is an issue of its own, strong points of observation. Because now we have shared their experience. The next thing is, what do we observe? What should be done? So we come back to that.